Hello, welcome to the Isuzu UTE A-League download episode. Who knows now? We're just so entrenched in the psyche of Australian football. We're basically pioneers. We are leading the way and people will follow. Archie, Thompson, Naum, Sekulovski. What a lineup this is. Bacca, how are you?
Bacca.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good to be back. A couple.
Yeah, carry on.
No, a couple of Morwell greats. I'll just have to throw that in there. Gippy Falcons.
Yeah.
Love it. Love being back. Love being on the couch and looking forward to a cracking show.
Yeah. Friday night. Big win on Friday, wasn't it, for the Preston Lions against South Melbourne?
It was.
9,000 there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mate, 10 years of hard work.
Yeah.
And we get to Friday night and I look forward to hopefully one day the collaboration and the coexistence of, you know, what's soon to be the Australian Championship, I think, and the A-League. So really exciting for Australian football. And big kudos to everyone involved at my club, Preston Lions Football Club. Massive Friday night.
You were there, tops off. You could see it back
Absolutely.
right there. What are the highlights from this weekend then in the A-League? Auckland still 6 points clear, perhaps a bit lucky to get a point at Newcastle. Melbourne side sits second, third and fourth. Is this my influence on Australian football? I'm just reading this out. I didn't write that. A couple of absolute bangers in the Adelaide-Brisbane game, and the Adelaide gaffer was furious about all of it. Those goals scored by children as well, which is will do nothing for your midlife crisis. Socceroos squad is going to be announced this week, so we'll do a deep dive into which A-League players should get the call. Let's start with that game in Newcastle then, Batka. Newcastle 1, Auckland 1. Do you think Auckland lucky there?
Yeah, look, Newcastle came out firing. That first 15, 20-minute block, you know, they could have finished the game in that first half of the first half. The goal by Eli Adams is nothing short of top shelf. Like, when that kid is on, he's absolutely on. And then on the flip side, you've got Paulson, who potentially is, you know, goalkeeper of the year, saves that penalty and probably gives them something to fight for. But up until that point, and generally throughout that first half, Newcastle looked, you know, pretty aggressive in wanting to win that game.
Yeah. Top shelf. Does that have the same meaning here? Because, you know, top shelf is where they used to put those magazines that you weren't meant to buy if you were a child. But, you know, if that's the way you want to describe Eli Adams' strike, I mean, God, he catches
Mate,
it.
he's a good-looking lad.
Yeah. And it's a different, like, when it's top shelf, you know, like, what's top shelf here in Australia? When you go to the bar,
quality.
Yeah, when you're looking at
it's high quality.
Yeah,
It's high quality.
Yeah, look, I never really reached up to the top.
No, of
there.
course you didn't.
Basically out of the tap.
Yeah.
What was on tap was good for me.
But what it?
Oh, mate, it was incredible. And to be honest, I don't think he's scored any real tap-ins. I think every goal that he's scored has just been amazing. I think I remember his first goal against Perth when he cut in from the right side, hit it top corner. I think that was for the win. But the way that he picked the ball up at halfway, you know,
the
pace, he's incredible. And the way he hit that, like, I mean, from that angle was tough. Like, you got to hit that so sweetly. And I think for Eli Adams, I mean, when he, like you said, when he's on, he's just incredible. That's what I like to see a little bit more. I mean, that consistency and concentrating a little bit more when he does get that chance. Because sometimes, like, I think when he gets the ball, it might be that, like, he might lose it or he tries something. I think if he really focuses, is more in the game. I just love the way he plays. I think he's great.
I have a saying, which you can take if you want.
Okay.
On a strike that is that pure, you say the ball stays ball. Do you know what I mean? Where, and I'd have to watch it again, because I don't know how much Ben was on the ball. You know when they kick the ball
I might
straight?
pass on that one.
No, listen. Okay, I'll explain it. I'll explain it.
Can you, what happened with your stomach again?
The ball stays ball, which means when you kick it so perfectly, it doesn't spin, it just goes in this perfect...
Ball stays ball, okay.
Ball stays ball.
It's growing on me.
See what I mean?
Ball stays ball.
And I felt this Adams strike was a ball stays ball, but I'd have to see it from the reverse angle before I really get... There's no higher praise for a strike than that. Noah James is at fault for that goal, isn't he? And it's a shame. He had a good second half. I thought he picked himself up well, because if you come for a cross, you've got to...
You got to win it.
You got to win it.
You got to win it.
Yeah.
And they're just moments in games, right? They're moments in games where, really, for Newcastle, they've had a pretty good run the last 6 weeks, and in patches. I think I was watching Robbie Stanton's post match. They've been electric and really, really good. It's about getting that consistent performance across a young group of players. Even from an Eli Adams perspective, one thing he spoke well about was how to get him performing consistently and, dealing with different characters in the team and trying to get the best out of him at training and then on game day. But for a club that doesn't have the budget that other clubs do in the A-League, it's quite refreshing to see them put Auckland to the sword, really, for the most part of that game. If anything, they probably die off when they go a man up, and Auckland, if not control that last 15 minutes. But I think some real positive signs for Newcastle. Auckland do what they do, and they've held their spot. They've got a point out in Newcastle, and you take that.
What did you make of the red card? Because it's quite interesting, isn't it, that the way football has changed? Because when we were growing up, if you got the ball, full ball, where your legs went didn't really matter, right? Yes.
Can I press pause on that?
You absolutely can.
I was watching some highlights of Vinnie Jones, and he got a lot more than the ball.
I mean, he rarely got the ball. He rarely got the ball.
Never received the card.
Oh. Have you seen, like, in the start of that Wimbledon-Liverpool FA Cup final that Wimbledon won?
Yes.
And I think he goes through Steve McMahon, like, nowhere near the ball, after, like, 5 seconds, and you're like, God, this game has changed.
It's changed. No, it's changed.
But it's changed. And I suppose the question is this, is I don't think there's a lot of intent there, right? You now, I think if you're going to fly at the ball, even if you're going to get the ball completely, you have to know where your legs are going to end up. And they are your legs, right? Like Verstraete's getting the red. He's got more control over his legs than any of the rest of us. But even still, I feel there is a sort of, it's a different, the game is different. You've got to decide when to go or when not, and go, actually, this ball, I could get it, but I just don't have the control after I clear it to go for that ball, and I've got to not go.
Well, I mean, it's so hard to make that decision in really that time of tackling. I mean, like you're 1 or 2 seconds think, I've got to win that ball, and you're not really worried about where your body ends up. And I got to feel a little bit for Verstraete because he does win the ball clearly, and he was a bit upset when he was walking off because he was like saying, I really tried to put my foot down, but anything that kind of looks dangerous or is up in the air, like 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, we get a red card. But I feel like that they really need to focus on, did it really hurt the player? And does he have time to think about it? Has he won the ball perfectly? Because he did.
Yeah.
Then maybe you need to give a little bit of leeway on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you mentioned intent, and that's probably the key thing.
But that doesn't, in the laws of the game, intent doesn't matter at all. Intent is not not a thing.
Maybe we start rewriting the law.
Okay.
Potentially, because clearly he goes for the ball. Unfortunately, the follow through hits him high up. I don't think it's extreme force, but again, because the law is such, he gets a red card, and it changes the dynamic of the game.
And actually, any still image when a boot is against someone's legs in the ground, and you just think, because actually, if he misses the player, and that's obviously a big if, then he's got the same lack of control. His just leg happens to go there and not there. Then no one notices. But I think it's kind of interesting the way that game has changed, and maybe you have to stay on your feet more. You have to stay on your feet more, because it does protect players, because he could have broken the guy's leg. Yeah. He could have done. One more question on Newcastle. Right, they're 9 points off. Is that them out of it, 9 points off 6? It's very unlikely given how tightly bunched it is above that.
Yeah, well, it is hard. They needed to get a good win, a result being a win on Sunday against Auckland. They've still got a game in hand against Melbourne City this week. And I think probably why Robbie Stanton made a couple of changes around the 70th mark that really took anything out of maybe Newcastle trying to get a result. They took off Lockie Rose and also Mizunuma, which is their attack. So maybe in the idea of they're thinking they're going to get a result and then go to City, then players ready. But you'd have to say maybe it's a bit tough. I'd like to see him. I mean, who was it? Who's the old boy that used to stay here?
Knackers?
Yeah, Knackers. He said that they could make finals, so
okay,
we'll see.
Great.
Let's go to Amy Park. Melbourne victory 3, Central Coast Mariners 0. It's like Arthur Dillez, it took him a while. What are you laughing at, Max? Are you still with us?
Well, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Look, we're here to have a nice time. What else is there?
good. Yeah,
You know, a lot of YouTube is pretty dark. At least, you know, we're providing like a happy thing. You know, people are doom scrolling. There's a lot of misery, and at least you know the we're like World War III is imminent. At least, like if we can't have a good time, what's the point? Right, Melbourne victory, 3, Central Coast Mariners 0. This was a very consummate performance, I thought, and it's nice. Because I doubted Arthur Dillis, right? Came in, didn't get a win for ages, but he's starting to turn it around a bit.
Well, it might be potentially their best win under Dillis. Really, really compelling. Couple of the stars, you know, get on the score sheet. Great goal by Fornaroli.
Yeah.
Right.
Such a classic centre forward, isn't he?
Really, really smart goal. And then does his best work in the box, on the dance floor, shakes left, shakes right, and then puts it bottom left. Like vintage, right? Vintage. But as an overall performance, really, really strong. And from an Arthur Dillis perspective, like I said, potentially their best performance, you know, under his tenure.
Total gift for the opener.
Eames,
Eames. It's a bit like, have you ever played that game where you're made to like put your head on a hockey stick and run around like 10 times, and then you just like walk, you like, you know, because he was like, "Where's the ball? I don't know where's the ball gone?" That poor guy. But Vuluple finished that well, and the third goal, that's lovely from
Mashash.
Yeah, man, that was a bomb. I mean, he was rested for this game. I think after Dillis, seen a couple of key players that maybe just needed a little rest on the bench. I mean, it was Santos that came on, and Virgos and Mashash. I mean, look at the bench there.
Battalato as well.
Battalato,
the young superstar.
Yeah, was fantastic. Yeah. On the flip side, Central Coast, I mean, wow, this season for them needs to end because you look at that, I think that goal when you talk about Bruno taking it really well. But, I mean, the organisation of that backline, you could see that I think it was Caltech tried to push up, then you got two defenders that are just sort of, I don't know what
Line
they're doing.
Was off.
Yeah.
Just doing their own thing.
Doing their own thing, and then, you know, the poor boy loses the ball in the middle part, which is understandable. I like that he's still trying to get that ball there at a young age, you know, but midfield probably lacking a little bit of something. And what's up front? I feel there's just nothing up front. I mean,
how's it gone from last year to this?
Wow, look at that. The players that they've lost. I mean, they've lost the two key players for me were in the middle of the park. Who was it? Nisbet and Ballard. They were massive.
And we talked about that before the season started.
Yeah, they're huge misses. I mean, when you look at the amount of goals that were getting created from the middle of the park, they just don't have that, unfortunately. Maybe Vukovic too at the back gives you experience. Yeah. Hall and Caltech was so strong, and they were scoring goals. I mean, unfortunately, they just haven't got anything clicking at the moment.
I mean, the answer is if you change your entire squad, that's
Yeah.
going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is.
Well, and you know, it might be a question of rebuild and you know, recruitment. You know, who do you bring in once you lose the players of that caliber? And then now within the current season, you know, the way the league is structured, when you're not in that top six, what are you playing for as a player as well? So there's that challenge there of, okay, we're just playing for the sake of playing. If there's no real carrot, you know, dangling in front of you. So plenty to think of, I think, for the Mariners, maybe post-season, and how to rebuild maybe some of them key positions, and then, you know, blood some young guys from the academy.
It's such
a
difficult thing, and I understand there's been so many discussions about relegation and the fact, you know, you can't, like the big clubs in the A-League, they can't afford for it to happen, right? Because it's so anathema to me to not have a pyramid, right? But that is a difficulty then for clubs who aren't going to get into the six.
Absolutely.
So what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to build, did the board have the faith in the manager? If you say, well, what we're going to do is say, right, we're going to play some kids, we're going to try some things, and then you lose 6 in a row and they go, oh, I'm not sure about this. It's a tricky position for them. We talked about it a little bit, but that attacking lineup that Victory have, like, there's so much ability there, isn't it? It's sort of impossible to know exactly what you're starting for or whatever would be.
Yeah.
But do you think they should be doing better given that? Or do you... No, here's a better question. When we get to the final six, presuming they're there, and you sort of start again, and you look at that squad and you think, they've got such a great chance. No, the way they started the season, I thought they looked like better than anybody.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like attacking wise, incredible. Like, and I guess for Dillis, it's about trying to keep the change room kind of competitive and not, because some players are going to be sitting on the bench, some are going to come in. So you got to try to keep that nice, I guess that nice what's
Balance.
balance,
Vibe,
right?
yeah.
Nice
Vibe.
the vibe, nice vibe. Where I feel like there's a lot of clubs that are doing that well. I thought that West United are doing that well. It's like it seems like the players are coming in doing a great job. They don't mind if they go out. They come back in. They do a good job. It's like
Real team ethos.
yes, that's right. And I
Whereas
think,
with this show, Thomas Sorensen's just sitting out there and he's absolutely seething.
Yeah, he's dirtied up.
But he
big
didn't
time,
get
big time,
the nod for today's game. You like a furious Dane. It's absolutely terrifying, isn't it? Melbourne City 2, Macarthur 0. 2 for Max Caputo back here, and that is great because he broke his leg pre-season. And the first finish is brilliant. Actually, it's a wonderful night for him.
Yeah, I think I mentioned who was it? Romani and Caputo. That was made out of the Melbourne City Academy. Great goal, good way to announce yourself after a period out of the game. I think the only thing from Caputo's perspective, and this is out of his control, don't want to take away from his contribution to the game, but that elbow, can we just look at that in isolation? And
I think that might be in his control. I don't know. I don't know about you.
Well, the elbow was in his control.
Yeah.
I think that the decision that came from it, and I think the inconsistency that's, I'm assuming for coaches and players that isn't there. Outside of that, for me, fantastic performance from a young striker, especially after a long time out of the game. But yeah, you just felt that really overall, I think Macarthur that first half were not quite up to it. City really dominated. That potentially is a moment that brings them back into the game, right? And might change the dynamic of it. But for whatever reason, doesn't get given that second yellow.
yeah,
That's orange and yellow card. I mean, I saw your post-match. Seems like a lovely chap.
Yeah.
Lovely chaps also have elbows.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Well, I think, he was probably thinking, wow, I'm pretty lucky to get away with that. I know that the Macarthur guys were seething. But when you look at City, they're starting to get their key players back. Jonathan, Cohen. Cohen got some minutes. Had an opportunity to score.
Agarkovic as well.
Yeah, Agarkovic should
yeah.
come back. Although I think Kai Truan's been really great in that middle of the park, so he'll find it tough to get back in. Tillo starting to look really sharp in front of goals. You got Lecky getting some minutes. So if any team really, I feel there's maybe a couple that maybe Auckland are just looking over their shoulder thinking, wow, I don't know. We're close to winning this league, but the way that City are playing, I don't know. Does City play Auckland come the end of the season? Because I wonder if those games are going to be
See
really
if I can remember all the fixtures. Still to come. Probably. Like everyone plays everyone else like 100 times.
Right.
Like,
They've still got 3 or 4 times to go there.
Minimum.
Minimum. So could they just catch them with the games that they play against each other? But
They don't have to play each other.
Okay, they don't have to play each other. Well, I mean, there'll be
other football matches.
There'll be other football
there will
matches,
be
and they've
actually.
still got to win all their games. But City are really looking threatening. They are really solid all over the park.
Well, I think they're not dissimilar to Victory, where from a timing perspective, they've got everyone sort of back in that squad. It's now a management piece for both the gaffers, right? For Vidmar and Dillis, obviously, with let's focus on City now and keeping that harmony within the changing room. We know we've got some players that are okay with it. Some have egos, bit of a chip on their shoulder. It's having that balance leading in. But really, both of them are primed, and City are really primed because we saw their academy lads do a job for for a good chunk of this season. Now they've got that experience back. Lecky getting some minutes in as well. And I think they're going to be a real threat leading into the final series.
First time in A-League history that a game has been halted so practicing Muslims could break their fast, which is a good thing, isn't it? Football should be for everybody. And Lord knows how you play an elite sport having not eaten all day. I mean, that is just... But it's great. It's great that is a thing and people aren't... I'm sure someone somewhere is going... I can't believe it. It's the end of society, but it is great.
It's great.
Because football should be for everyone, shouldn't it? West United 4, Wellington Phoenix 1. they're so good, Western United. This seemed incredibly straightforward. We've talked about Wellington being pretty average, but the way they play, just all their goals look so training ground.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they are. They look like a team that most of their goals are constructed beautifully, and they finish it off lovely. I think Grimaldi has been great the last couple of weeks. It's great to see him get his first double in the A-League.
Yeah, Brace.
Yeah, Brace was really great.
Another academy kid.
Okay, mate, they're
so
all
good.
They're all academies. They're kids. Those West United, fantastic. Iwasuki again. Botic had an opportunity in the second half to make it 8 games in a row.
Yeah.
And really put his hand up for maybe a selection in the Socceroos, which we might talk about. But I think West United just dominant for Wellington. Again, I don't know. It's good to see Rojas back, but they just seem to just play themselves into trouble with the way that they play their game. It's like when you get the opportunity to go forward, go forward. But it seems like Wellington, when they do, and they go back and then they start making mistakes, and then they're sitting right back on the goal line, which we seem to be talking about each week, just lack really anything going up front. And I feel a bit for Costa Barbarouses. He was lighting the house on fire at the start of the season. Now you just can't get him the ball in dangerous areas. And unfortunately for Wellington, their season's pretty much done. But for West United, bro,
they're humming.
On fire, yeah.
Absolutely humming. And I think it all stemmed from that conversation I had with...
Yes, I knew you were going to go there.
I think so.
with Johnny. I'm not going to lie, right? I don't really want to take all the credit for it, but wowee.
Actually, since that moment,
it's just been up and to the right.
Yeah.
Like the trajectory's been outrageous.
Heading towards the top shelf.
Yeah, heading right towards the top shelf. Yeah. Absolutely. But on a serious note, Ironbark, right? That's now becoming a bit of a fortress. They've only lost 1 in 7.
Yeah.
Right. It's
a windy fortress, isn't it? No one knows how to play it. Yeah.
It's a windy fortress out in Tarneet.
Yeah.
Right, it's an interesting place to play at for teams travelling, and they've actually played the ground really well. They play great footy there, and
I haven't even gone to experience that. Have
Really?
you been out there to watch a game?
no, just I've been there via the TV.
I haven't even gone to see the actual stadium.
You're a man of the people. Get down
Yeah,
there.
I might have to.
Actually, we
venture
should
out
both
there.
go down there.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We'll grab some gyros, kebabs. or
Kebabs?
something? Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're all, yes.
Remember
One of
we're
those
gonna-
things, kebabs.
Yeah.
That's it. All the...
He's
He's
too good.
He's such a man of the
No,
world,
he's
isn't he?
He's another level.
What are these kebabs
He's
you
another
speak
level.
of, Archie? Tell me more.
You know about a kebab?
What's a kebab?
Oh, it's
Never had a kebab. Ridiculous. Do you know my favourite moment of this game was Nathan Walker, they're 4-0 down, scoring a goal with 9 minutes left and running to get the ball, right? There is one of life's optimists. I was like, good for you. Get it. You never know, but you never know. We knew, but don't lose that. You're young. When you get, dragged down by life and you get into your mid-40s and you've got a couple of kids and you're living on you're on fumes, Nathan, you might lose that lust for life, but right now, you go grab it because you never know.
Hey, that's his moment. That's his top shelf moment.
I laughed at that. It's the same thing when he scored and he ran after the ball. I was like, oh, mate.
It was always
Love
David Platt for me in an Arsenal shirt. I don't think he was ever doing anything, but was just running back with the ball under his own going, we can still do this, lads. And one of my favourite, it's a shame that the keeper, if it had been closer, the keeper would have got the ball and they'd have a bit of a wrestle in the net and fall into the net. Love that part of any football match. Let's go to Adelaide. Adelaide 1, Brisbane 1, and 2 absolutely brilliant goals. Nice. Harry Crawford, 18-year-old, scores for Adelaide. Cuts in on his left. It's his weaker foot, I think, but it's very Arjen Robben, Andros Townsend, that type of goal. And it looks like the ball speeds up when he strikes it.
Yeah.
Bangers.
Yeah. You like that? Do you like bangers?
Yeah, you said bangers at the start.
Yeah.
And that's what I had down here. I said we had 2 bangers in one game.
Yeah, really good. What did you have on your notes, Archie? Nothing. It's okay, don't
He's
worry
got
about
it tattooed here on his forearm. What does it say, Butker?
Banger.
Banger.
But they're both like Jacob Brissett scores the one for Brisbane. They are 2 brilliant goals. And what ways for your first goal? Might as well just quit now. Just say, there you go, done football, completed. See you later, I'll become an accountant. But what a brilliant goal.
We love that. I think that's been the trend, right, this season. Seeing young boys score their first goal. on the dance floor, the big show. This is what we want, and that's been the theme, right? We've seen some of these young kids progress and go overseas, which has been fantastic. So to see another couple of 18-year-olds, like even that's something that I speak to my under 19s about at Preston Lions Football Club. There's never been a better time to be part of the A-League or Australian football, right?
Brissett, I think he's gone to the dance floor, liked the music, but never got on there.
Yeah.
Like with all the kind of moves he was doing, but there was just no.
He's moonwalking on the touchline.
But no end product until that. Like when you put it on the dance analogy, you go to the dance floor, but if you're looking around, going, no, I don't know about this. But this time, he went up with confidence.
Presses play.
Music's
on.
Which a BG song comes on.
Is that BG?
No, that's not it.
Staying Alive.
Staying Alive on Night. He starts to feel it because that hit was unbelievable.
Do you reckon Jacob Brissett knows who the Bee Gees are?
No chance.
No chance.
Although his hairstyle, you probably could think,
possible.
yeah, maybe the lead singer.
It's not full
Nah, it
Barry
doesn't.
Gibb, is it?
But more at the back. If you had the whole flow, it'd be good.
I can't get into mullets with you guys. I don't know what Australia's thinking.
But for Adelaide, there were some seething words from
Calvert, Too many players went hiding and weren't prepared to do the work. Simple as that for a team pushing for a top 2 spot. That was unacceptable.
Yes, and I agree because I look at that performance and I look at Adelaide United, and he was right. The first sort of 10 minutes after the half time, they looked like, okay, they're going to run away with it. But then after, it just looked flat. They weren't. I know the temperature was quite sapping
quite
for the
warm,
guys.
I think 36, 37 degrees.
But there was no one really getting.
No one should be able to play in that.
I know.
I can't even sit in the garden.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's absolutely ludicrous.
It's tough. But normally you'd see them players trying to get on the ball in the middle, to go forward, overlapping runs. They look dangerous when they go forward. Just absolutely nothing. It looked really flat. And like you said, for a team that's fighting for number 2 in the top two, they were well off the mark. And he's not afraid to make changes, which he said that will happen if players aren't going to want to fight.
We don't mind that.
No.
Well, look, I think that's great.
Yeah, I definitely do, because it's when you look at the performance against Auckland, and then they come back to Adelaide, where I feel like they've struggled a lot this year to get wins. It just was missing something, and they want to quickly remove that if they're going to have a chance to stay in the 6. I mean, because it's getting it's quite pretty tight. Congested. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, throw a blanket over it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Socceroos. I mean, this group is just totally ludicrous, isn't it? Group C, right? So Japan have run away with it. From 2nd to 6th, the only team that has 2 wins is China, who are in 6th. So like Australia, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain have won 1 game each. So 1 point separates 2nd place and 6th place. Top 2 qualify. 3rd and 4th go into the next phase of qualifying. The Socceroos are home to Indonesia, away to China. These are enormous games. Like, it's just there, isn't it? You're just staring at it going, like, this is such a good opportunity. I know all our Indonesian, Saudi Arabian, Bahrainian and Chinese viewers will be thinking the same because it's how you want every league to look, actually, isn't it?
These are, without doubt, the most important games for us to qualify. Indonesia at home, there's going to be a lot of Indonesian fans there. Hopefully we get numbers out there for Aussie fans because that's an important game. You'd think China away, and China haven't performed really well in this phase of qualifications. That's something that we can maybe go there and get a win. But again, our fate is in our own hands, and this group that comes in, maybe last one was players were a bit underdone, maybe not getting match time. This one, it'll be interesting to see who he's going to select, to be honest.
When they were a little bit thin defensively. So it'd be interesting to see how many boys from the A-League get the call up this time round. And, if there's scope for any of these young guns to potentially put their best foot forward.
Obviously, Angus Thurgate is a shoo-in, my man. But beyond that, who from the A-League, who has impressed you so much, do you think has a chance?
I've got Dylan Leonard here, Noah Botic. I think Foxy was at one of the games. He'd know him really, really well. Noah Botic, reward for
being the top scorer, right?
Being top goal scorer in the league, right? I mean, for a young kid at such a young age, he's shown that he's playing well above that. So I'd love to see Popper be bravery. You know, in the instance of Dylan Leonard, he's already showed that faith, I think, with Hayden Matthews, right, when he had 20 games in the A-League. I think Leonard is coming up to 17 or 18 games. Again, when I did have that conversation with JA, one thing he mentioned is that he was very mature for a young boy. So I'd love to see Popper be brave in these instances. Indonesia at home is probably a really good game to give them exposure, and China as well. So it'd be interesting. They're sort of my two that I'm looking at. But I'd love to see Popper go as aggressive as he can in terms of bringing in some of these young boys from the A-League system.
Yeah, I would probably think with this group or these particular games coming up, I'd be going more experienced. I would, if you're going to bring players in, it'd be just purely getting a feel of the environment. And
because you always, sorry to interrupt, whenever you have these conversations, and we do it all the time with England, you pick loads of players, but you don't think, well, if you select someone, you actually have to drop someone else, right? That's the issue.
Yeah,
you can't just say get all the kids in, play all the attackers.
Yeah, and like, but I do like that. You want for him to be going like, okay, who's performing? Plays, you know, and I think that's probably why he went Hayden Matthews, because he was performing and doing well, and now he's gone over to Portsmouth. Yeah. He won't be there because of his injury.
Yeah, and Harry Suter's out as well.
And Harry Suter. So there is a good chance that maybe these guys could get that chance. And I look at Dylan Leonard. I mean, there was a instance there. I think it was a third goal where he won the ball in the midfield. Still had that awareness in a midfield position to play the ball through. I don't know for such crucial games that you want to put that much pressure on kids. Yeah. But I'd love to see a Noah Bodic, like I said. I mean, reward him for his performances. JA says that he's still got 20-30% in him. At the moment, like you would have probably thought Milanovic, a good chance, but maybe has dipped off in form. Luke Bratton was there for the last camp, and Caceres. Maybe you probably won't see a Luke Bratton, but you'll definitely see an Anthony Caceres. So, look, it'll be interesting. It's wide open. I don't have an idea about which player is going to be in there, but I'd be thinking the more
leaning on experience.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I just love rewarding. And again, I think you're right, Arch, in terms of that experience piece. You know, but diamonds are made under pressure, right? And
of course they are.
If we're going to start producing these guns that you were referring to, Maxi, why not reward it? I mean, I look at Western United and what they've done this year. They're, I think, second on the table right at the moment. They've blooded young kids. We've got a top goal scorer there and a 17-year-old centre-back that's played every game. Like, it's A+, A+, A+. Again, I understand the pressure that Popper's under, the Socceroos and the country in needing to qualify. But at the same time, there has to be an element of bravery. I'm sure there'll be plenty of experience around them. Defensively, it might be, Beige that they bring in. You might want to bring in Lecky as well. He's had some minutes,
and Tilio too.
Late Tilio as well. Yeah. So there's definitely options there. It might be a blend of both, like you said, Arch. A blend of experience and then 2 or 3 young guys to get them in, and then just give them a sniff, give them an understanding of what it looks like to be in camp.
So if you think about like up front, and essentially we've got a list of A-League players here. Goodwin, Lecky, Tilio, Azani. I'll read it all: Valupile, Piscopo, Taggart,
Zapsford, I like.
Borello, Botic, Wality, Zekic. It's hard for me. You say throw a blanket over those top 6. To work out who out of that, I know that they're not all the same type of player, but who is the step above? You've seen them all do good things in games, but it's so hard to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you're Popovich, you've got to, if you're going to give someone a sniff of the squad to have a look around, you can't just go, here, you have a look this month, but you're not in next month. You've almost got to kind of make an educated assessment on who's got the most potential, who could actually do a job for me, and all those things. Yeah. And it's a short-term game, right?
Yeah.
If he doesn't qualify for the World Cup, it's not great for his job prospects.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I agree. I think.
Thank you so much.
No. If you look at that, Mitch Duke's not playing many minutes. Cassini Yengi's just coming back from injury. And we saw when there was qualifiers, when he did throw in a couple of, I think it was Graham Arnold at the time, threw players in that were underdone. It's tough at that international level when you haven't played much football. So when you look at potential and maybe some guys that can do a job, you'd have to say Noah Botic. I love Sapsford. Like he might even be a little dark horse that can
but
get
better with the
chance.
mask on.
You like that?
Yeah, I know he might have recovered, but how good is it?
Would you embellish it? Would you go just?
I don't think they'd make one for a head this big.
Not for you. No, I'm not saying
not
for
for
you.
a Macedonian extra large.
Not for you, back. We don't need you in a mask for this. I'm saying, would you embellish on Sapsford's mask? Would you just keep it as it is, keep it simple, or he could go full Bane?
Nah, Full Bane.
Full Bane. Right.
Whatever that means.
Not on.
Off Batman, yeah.
Play to feet.
Yeah,
that
how good's
that
that?
kind of thing. They don't want it.
There's a component of intimidation in it. Straight away.
You're absolutely right. It's worth mentioning Sydney FC in Asia, and actually, Patrick Kamala scored a brace. Brilliant finishes from him.
Yeah.
He's a real elite centre forward, I think.
And it's perfect. 2-0 lead coming home. I always thought that going there was always going to be tough. Mm-hmm. John Book's probably one of the better clubs in Korea. And I will have to say that, Central Coast won this competition last year. I don't know if they've had a tough run like Sydney FC had. The Sydney FC have played some good teams.
Knocked off a few.
Yeah, very good teams. So, they'd be very, very confident going into this game. And, they go to a semi-final and then they can put their real energy into making a real late run for that 6. They're in good position too. You almost forget about them because they're, off there playing Asian Champions Leagues too while, everyone's battling out for the 6, but they've still got enough potential to go far, definitely.
Now, their potential opponent is interesting because Valerie Germain, you'll remember, who left here because the referees weren't very good. Not because he got a really great offer from somewhere else. He went to go and play for Sanfrecce Hiroshima. He scored in a 6-1 win over Singaporean side Lion City Sailors. But actually he was suspended, so he shouldn't have played. He's playing under a different name. Today you're Brian Smith. Everyone, this is Brian. Call him Brian in the WhatsApp group. Then it's fine. You get into method like Daniel Day-Lewis. You go method, you're Brian from the minute you walk in to the minute you leave. Anyway, they didn't do that. And so now instead of being 6-1 up, they're 3-0 down going into the second leg. But they won the first 6-1, actually, so there's a bit of spice around that one.
Yeah, gosh. how does that happen? How do you
it's
know?
Like putting your finger in a blender. It's just not good.
Yeah, it isn't good.
Not good.
It's quite hard, though, to do that because the lid of the blender normally, it prevents you doing it. I don't know about the old
little hole. When you put the banana,
the old school blenders of Macedonia.
Well, you might find an old one on the sidewalk when someone's gone cruising, right? With
the tip rat.
The tip rat.
Yeah. If Ryan Grant tries to give you a blender, don't put your finger in it. That's the lesson from today's episode, isn't it?
Good to be back.
It's great to be here, isn't it? APL has announced the annual Pride celebrations, which is good, isn't it? Football is for everyone. March the 14th to the 30th across the Isuzu A-League men's and Ninja A-League women as well. So, that's good. And that's it. Well done, everybody. Oh, no, I've got to tell you what's coming up. There's some other shows. They're good. They're not this level good, but, my love to Vince Rugari and Tommy Orr, and the wild man of A-League broadcasting, Nick Stoll, just upsetting people everywhere he goes, along with Daniel Georgievski, keeping him in line.
Another Masso, another brother.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So that's total A-Leagues on the Wednesday and then the warm-up on Thursday. Next weekend, what games jump out at you? Melbourne City play the Jets, Adelaide, Macarthur, Western Sydney versus Victory, Perth Glory, Brisbane Roar. There you go. That's the one, isn't it?
That's the one.
Big old wooden spoon. Auckland Central Coast, Newcastle, Western United, and Sydney FC, Wellington, Phoenix. You may watch them at your leisure. Thank you, chaps.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Come again.
Look forward to it.
Goodbye.